They thought they could silence her, but when Karoline Leavitt fought back with a lawsuit, the entire show was canceled overnight. The stage lights beamed down as Karoline Leavitt sat across from the liberal talk show panel, her expression calm but firm. She knew exactly what she was walking into. For months, the show's hosts had attacked her policies, mocked her views, and dismissed her as just another far-right extremist. But Karoline? She wasn't there to back down. The interview started normal enough. Talks about policy, the upcoming election, and her views on the economy. But then, just when the conversation seemed civil, the lead host, Mark Reynolds, decided to go for the kill shot. "Karoline, let's be real," he said, leaning forward smugly. "Do you really believe someone like you, young, conservative, and let's face it, a little too extreme, has a place in modern politics?" The audience gasped. Karoline raised an eyebrow. "Too extreme? For believing in free speech and secure borders?" Mark smirked. "For pushing ideas that many would call outdated, even dangerous." That's when another panelist jumped in, laughing. "Oh, come on, Karoline. Let's be honest. You're just a pretty face for a party full of old men clinging to the past." The crowd erupted, some laughing, others stunned by the blatant attack. But Karoline? She didn't flinch. Instead, she leaned forward, her next words sending shockwaves through the studio. "So, let me get this straight. You invited me here not to debate me but to insult me? You don't want a conversation, you just want to shut me up." The hosts shifted in their seats, caught off guard. But what Karoline said next left them scrambling for a way out. The smug expressions on the hosts' faces vanished as Karoline took control of the conversation. She leaned in, her voice steady, powerful. "You claim to fight for equality, for fairness, for women's voices to be heard. But the second a woman disagrees with you, you mock her, call her extreme, and reduce her to nothing but a pretty face." The audience shifted uncomfortably. Some even nodded in agreement. The female co-host, who had made the insulting remark, stammered. "That's not what I meant." Karoline cut her off, her voice sharper now. "No, it's exactly what you meant. If I were sitting here pushing your agenda, you'd call me brave and empowered. But because I think for myself, I'm a threat." The audience erupted into applause. Mark Reynolds, the lead host, cleared his throat, trying to regain control. All right, let's take a step back." Karoline wasn't done. "No, let's not," she shot back. "Because this is exactly the problem. The media doesn't debate conservatives anymore. They ambush them, they mock them, and when that doesn't work, they try to silence them." The crowd wasn't laughing anymore. The entire mood had shifted. Then Karoline dropped the bombshell. "You know what? I was warned about this show. I was told this wasn't an interview. It was a setup. But I came anyway, because I refused to be bullied into silence." Mark visibly panicked, turning to the producers off camera. The segment was spiraling out of control. "I'll tell you what's outdated," Karoline continued, her voice ringing through the studio. "Liberal elites thinking they can control the narrative, thinking they can attack and smear anyone who doesn't fall in line." Then she took her earpiece out, stood up, and looked directly into the camera. "I came here in good faith. You turned this into a smear job. So I hope your lawyers are watching, because I'm done playing nice. See you in court." The entire audience gasped. Mark Reynolds' jaw dropped. The female co-host went pale. Karoline turned and walked off the set, leaving the hosts sitting there in stunned silence. What happened next would leave the entire show canceled. The fallout from the interview was immediate and brutal. Within minutes, clips of Karoline's mic drop moment flooded social media. Hashtags like #Karoline exposed, them and media bias unmasked began trending worldwide. The talk show's producers scrambled for damage control, releasing a statement calling the exchange a spirited debate that was taken out of context. But it was too late. Karoline? She wasn't just walking away from this. She was taking legal action. The lawsuit that changed everything. The very next day, Karoline's legal team filed a lawsuit against the show's network, citing defamation, character assassination, and gender-based discrimination. Her lawyer, David Michaels, stood before reporters. What happened to Karoline Leavitt wasn't an interview. It was an orchestrated ambush designed to humiliate and silence her. And that's not journalism. That's a coordinated attack. The lawsuit shook the entire media industry. Major networks scrambled, realizing this wasn't just another controversy. This was a legal war against media bias. And the show? Advertisers began pulling out. Ratings plummeted. And within a week, the network announced an internal investigation into its hosts and editorial practices. But it got even worse for them. The show gets canceled. Behind the scenes, network executives panicked. The bad press wasn't just damaging, it was crippling. Facing massive pressure, they made a shocking decision. The long-running talk show was canceled indefinitely. Mark Reynolds and the other co-hosts? Fired. The media exploded. Some called Karoline's lawsuit the biggest takedown of liberal media bias in years. Others raged, claiming it was an attack on free press. But Karoline? She simply stood before reporters, smiling. I didn't cancel them. They canceled themselves. With that, she walked away victorious. A woman who stood her ground, fought back, and won. The aftermath days later, Karoline sat down for an exclusive interview where she addressed the controversy. I went on that show to have a real conversation. They wanted a spectacle. They thought they could smear me, humiliate me, and get away with it. She leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. I hope this serves as a lesson. If you think you can silence people who don't fit your narrative, think again. The interview went viral, proving once again, Karoline Leavitt wasn't just another political figure. She was a fighter. And thanks to her, the media landscape would never be the same again. After the show's cancellation, the media went into full meltdown mode. Some liberal networks rushed to defend the hosts, claiming Karoline had overreacted and that the lawsuit was a threat to journalism. But Karoline? She wasn't backing down. Instead of getting caught up in the media spin, she doubled down, appearing on major conservative platforms, exposing exactly how the mainstream media had targeted her. In an interview with Tucker Carlson, she said, "This isn't just about me. This is about every conservative voice that's been shut down, mocked, or smeared by a media that thinks it can get away with anything." The clip went viral. Millions of Americans saw what really happened, and the backlash against the network only grew stronger. Then, the final nail in the coffin dropped. The network's CEO makes a stunning admission. Faced with plummeting ratings and legal pressure, the CEO of the network, who had initially tried to defend the hosts, was forced to make a shocking statement. After reviewing the events that took place on our program, we recognize that mistakes were made. Moving forward, we are committed to ensuring that all guests, regardless of political affiliation, are treated with fairness and respect. In other words, they admitted defeat. The show wasn't just canceled, it became a cautionary tale for the entire industry. And Karoline? She had officially cemented her place as one of the most fearless conservative voices in America. The final word. When asked if she had any regrets about taking legal action, Karoline simply smiled. If standing up for myself means canceling a show that thrived on lies and smears, then good riddance. And just like that, she didn't just win a lawsuit, she changed the game. Do you think Karoline was right to fight back? Should more conservatives follow her lead? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more explosive stories like this.